Good morning and good Yantiv, a happy Lag Bomer to all my friends. Today's a minor observance in the Jewish calendar that's become more and more popular recently, although it's always been somewhat popular. It's the day of Lag BaOmer, 33rd day of the counting of the Omer. There are many different traditions about what this holiday represents. One of the earliest things that are ascribed to it historically, this date in history, is it's the day when they finished eating the matzah that they brought out from Egypt, and they began to eat the manna. And we have 17 days left until Shavuos, till Pentecost, which is the day that we received the Ten Commandments, we received the Torah at Mount Sinai, we had the revelation at Sinai. What I consider to be the greatest event in history. Really, Passover was a way to get ready for that. Sorry, it was a hachana, how do you say, a preparation for that day of receiving the Torah. And so is this day of Lag BaOmer. This day when we start to eat the manna. Because the sages teach, the Torah was only given to those who consume manna, who eat manna. The power of eating manna is the power of, let's see what I have for lunch today. It's the power of saying, we eat the manna, we are eating food that comes from God. We eat the food that the angels eat. What does it mean that the angels eat this food? Do angels have to eat? There is no eating or drinking in heaven. There are different species of angels, and some of them are more physical than others, and those that need to eat, they eat manna. So when we eat the same food that they eat, we become transformed and transfigurated and transmogrified, right? Into something totally different, something new. We're able to eat food. When we eat food that's heavenly, we're able to receive a word that's heavenly. And so while we first had to eat the matzah, which the Zohar calls the food of faith, and the food of healing. So we're healed from all the damage that was done to us in that slavery, which was necessary to cleanse us. That was part of the plan, really, to cleanse us from the original sin. We had to be put into slavery, which was, the slavery in Egypt was called Kura Barzel. Scripture calls it the crucible that cleanses us of the dross. So then we come out of there, but we need to be healed, and we need to be faithful. So we eat the matzah. And then we need to be transformed into something heavenly. After we've been healed, after we've been imbued with that faith, we become something new. We become angelic. We become, like Rabbi Bart Tzadok would say, extraterrestrial. We're no longer from this earth. That doesn't mean from another planet, but from heaven, not from earth. Because we're receiving a word that is extraterrestrial. It's not from earth, it's from heaven. Again, doesn't mean from another planet in the science fiction sense. We mean from heaven, from somewhere other than earth. And so by eating this extraterrestrial food, we become transformed into extraterrestrial beings. By eating food that's not from earth, we become heavenly beings. And then we can become heavenly minded people. But we can bring that heavenly attribute into the earth. Because that's the purpose of all of this. Is to bridge the gap between heaven and earth. To recognize the unity. We have one God. And the whole universe is full with His glory. The whole earth is full with His glory. All the worlds are full with His glory. We look forward to the day when the glory of the Lord will be revealed, and all flesh will see together. For the mouth of the Lord has spoken it. It means to say that the revelation of the glory of God is something that will be revealed universally. It's not that the flesh is evil. The flesh is weak. The spirit is willing, the flesh is weak, they say, right? But it's not evil. It's an opportunity to bring the flesh up to the spiritual world and to reveal the holiness that's there within. And it's a mistake that so many people make when it comes to religion. They believe that religion only talks to the soul and teaches us to leave the body, forget about the body. Who needs the body? That's not what Judaism teaches, and indeed the Abrahamic traditions that come out of Judaism, most of them have a tradition of a bodily resurrection. The millennium time, and it is part of the eschatology, is that all of those souls will be restored to their bodies, and there will be a physical manifestation in the eschatological world. And so we need to eat that food. Now, does it mean that physically we're going to be eating manna right now? No. But the food that we eat now, we can meditate on it, that it should represent for us the spirituality of the manna, which is something we're supposed to do on the Sabbath. That's why we eat kugel on Shabbos, but really all the food, the challahs on Shabbos, we put a cover on it because the Bible tells us that the manna was covered on top and on bottom with a layer of dew. And so we put the challah board underneath and the challah decal on top. And we have two challahs to represent the two portions that fell on Friday, the Lechem Mishnah. And so we meditate on these ideas every Sabbath, and certainly we should focus on it from here until Shavuos. That is what we're accomplishing with these 49 days of counting, and especially these last 17 days, 18 days, which is Gematria Chai, life, 17 days, which is Gematria Tov, which is good, and also the shame of Vayayim El Ayin, as Hashemayim Ves Haaretz, which represents, it's the sod of Kvitzas Haderech. I'm not going to explain that to those who are not initiated, but those who know what I'm talking about. And I think, I was reading yesterday, because at work, I'll put on tefillin, I'll take a break that I'm allowed to take, or even, and I'll daven. And someone from another tradition, from Native American tradition, they were looking at the tefillin, and they asked me about it, and I told them, explained a little bit what it's like, and how similar it is to certain, and he was discussing how similar it is to certain things in his tradition, something in the medicine bag, and some people have theories that the Native American peoples are from the lost tribes of Israel. It's not true, but maybe some of the members of the lost tribes might have come over. But it's fascinating how many similar things they have. Loss of Nida, very similar other things, and certain things are polar opposites. We don't take haircuts when we're mourning, and they specifically cut their hair when they're in mourning. Again, there are many different Native American tribes, a lot of different people have different peoples, have different approaches. But anyway, so it got me reading on Google about tefillin, and it got me to see, what. I remember one time I was, we had what do you call it? We had an electrician come to the house, and he was a devout evangelical Christian. And he saw I was wearing talis and tefillin. He said, "Wow, those are phylacteries. I'd never seen those in real life." And it reminds me of, what's that kid's name? Dave. He was so funny. I don't know what happened to him. He's a Lubavitcher kid on YouTube. He made these videos where he said these funny, jokes and stories. And he said, Rabbi told the man he should start putting on tefillin. And then he said, "Well, what are tefillin?" He said, "Phylacteries." He said, "Oh, phylacteries." But he was saying, they brought there that word phylactery that appears in the Christian Bible. I just give myself a flat tire, and it's and there the the one who's said to be founder of Christianity, he says something along the lines that giving Musar to the Pharisees, they make their phylacteries wide, and their tzitzis, and the hem of their garment long, so people should pay attention to them. And they're trying to seek attention. And so I was reading different things that people were saying about the different Christian pastors. They were speaking of this, and they said, what's important is what's on your heart on the inside, and not how you express it on the outside. Now the thing is, obviously, these were coming from more Protestant and perhaps evangelical perspectives. Obviously, the Catholic and the Orthodox and the other Protestants, the traditionalist type Protestants, for the Anglican type Protestants, they have traditions that are, in many ways very similar to Jewish traditions, but also very outward expressions of their religious devotion. And as we would tell, as anyone else would say, is that it's not a contradiction. The whole point of, and that's the mistake that those who don't have these types of traditions have. I mean, I remember, Glenn Beck, who's a Mormon, and they do have traditions and rituals. But he said he attended a Pesach Seder, and he said he was just floored by it, amazed by what this was, and he said this is what we're missing in America, is tradition, is ritual. What do we do on the 4th of July? We just, watch the fireworks, drink a few beers, which that just shocked me so much when I realized that like 2 years ago, I saw signs before the 4th of July saying, don't drink and drive. And I was like, what? 4th of July is a day to get drunk? What's that about? 4th of July? Why? 4th of July should be a day when you're contemplating the great gift and giving thanks to God for the great gift that this country is. Not losing your mind. It's a day like Kabbalah Satorah, Choros Halalu Chesal Tikra Choros Halacherus. It's engraved on the luchos, the tablets. Don't read that it's engraved Choros, but the word Cherus is freedom. But the true freedom comes with the responsibilities of Torah. Choros Halacherus. And so too, that's, we should have a Seder on the 4th of July. We should read, Declaration of Independence, and, that's what it should be. It should be, a day of devotion to God. How do we just, you could have a drink to celebrate that. Just like we drink 4 cups of wine on Pesach. Even on Purim, we get a little bit drunk, but it's for meditative purpose, not just, we have a day off, let's get drunk. It's for devotion to God. But here we have, a different experience. So we have Lag BaOmer, which is a day of devotion. We sing our hymns, and some people have bonfires, although that was really only supposed to be a tradition in Meron, and then it came to Jerusalem because of what was going on in Meron. So the pious communities in Jerusalem started to make it in Jerusalem, and there were certain communities that did in Tiberias also, was near Meron. And then it started to become a custom very recently in America and other countries. It really was not an old custom. And personally, I really don't enjoy it. I enjoy to sit down and have a tish and to learn the Zohar a little bit, things like that in Lag BaOmer. If you want to have a bonfire, I usually make a little bonfire too. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I think it's a little over the top, a lot of what goes on with Lag Bomer, with the bonfires and things. But maybe there's something to it. And, a lot of people have been discussing about how they don't feel a connection. Same. I was in Meron once, and I really didn't. I just found it uncomfortable and annoying, and I really didn't enjoy it. And so just my experience. Other things, whatever it is. So anyway, I wanted to talk on Lag Bomer about, we have the hymns that we sing for Lag Bomer. And it's kind of connected to this, and the whole idea of tefillin is that you take an animal and you make it holy, and it shows that even the most base animal aspects of our lives can be made holy. Put the name of God on it. We put the name of God into ourselves, and we can have holiness in our lives. And that's the whole idea of the tefillin. It's supposed to transform us like eating the manna. But when it comes to these things, so we read on Lag Bomer, we sing Amar Bekiva, the last mission in Yuma. Rabbi Akiva said, Ashreichem Yisrael. I always wondered, why do we sing this on Lag Bomer? And Ashreichem Yisrael, happy are you, O Israel. Lifnei mi'atim matarim, before who are you purified? Mi matar eschem, and who purifies you? Avichem shebashamayim, Father who art in heaven. Shenamar v'zrakti leichem ma'im tarim tartem mikol t'mesechem mikol guleichem matar eschem. As it says in Ezekiel 36, and I will sprinkle upon you pure waters, and it will purify you from all of your impurity and from all of your sins, all of your disgusting things. I will purify you. I'm a mikveh Yisrael Hashem, and in Jeremiah it says the hope of Israel is the Lord, but that word hope is also the word mikveh, which means a mikveh, a ritual bath. Ma mikveh mataras tameim, just as the mikveh purifies those who are impure, Afakodesh Baruch Hu matar Yisrael. So too, the Holy One, blessed be He, the Almighty God, purifies Israel, the Jewish people. I don't mean the state of Israel. I mean the Jewish people, the community of Israel. And the concept that we have there, what does that mean exactly? And I realized that it says that when the Chumash in the book of Leviticus speaks of entering the mikveh, it says he should cleanse all of his flesh, called basar b'mayim, all of his flesh in water. And that's why we understand it has to be all at once. that we are purified in the water, that we enter the water and we come out pure. For a chatz, it's called B'sar B'mayim. And there's another song that, at least in Satmar, they sing on Lag Bomer from Psalm 63. And there are many different tunes to this, especially in Chabad. It's very popular. Libi of Suri, not Libi, it says Kom Alecha B'suri. It says Tzom Alecha Nafshi, Kom Alecha B'suri. Tzom Alecha Nafshi, Kom Alecha B'suri. Okay? My soul thirsts for you. And my flesh desires you. In a dry and barren land without water. So too, when I'm in the sanctuary, in the holy place, should I see you. To see your strength and your glory. Meaning that sometimes it's those physical experiences, being lost in the desert, that inspire us to feel close to God. Maybe even physical pain that inspire us and make us feel something. And we should feel that same thing when we are in a religious devotion. We might not always feel it. We should recognize that. And that it's, yes, God can purify our souls, but we need our bodies to be with us too. We can't just ignore the body and focus solely on the soul. We have to have that. We have to have both. Are we open here? And so to have both, and to bring both up to God, that's how we do it. And so there's certain people that are too heavenly minded to be any earthly good. That's why we have to eat the manna. We have to bring heaven down to earth. There's a story by the Kotzker. Two Hasidim, I think one was a Chabad Chassid and one was a Kotzker Chassid. Because when someone brought up to Kotzker something, about asking about Kavanas and Kriya Shema and things and meditations, and he said, "Oi, the pipik, oh, my belly button, the navel." It's expression, Yiddish, So then there's another similar story where I think it was a Chabad Chassid was talking to a Kotzker Chassid. The Kotzker Chassid answered back to the Chabad Chassid. He said, "Dein Rebbe redt doch in Himmel arein. Your Zuktor zum Himmel arein. Your Rebbe speaks in the heavenly realms, inside when he delivers his sermons, when he says Torah. Man Rebbe redt doch in Pipik arein. My Rebbe, the Kotzker, he said, speaks right to the navel. That he's saying it goes into our innermost being, feeds us on this earth. And we need the balance of both. We need the proper balance of both, the heavenly and the earthly. And that's the message of this day of Lag BaOmer. That we start eating the manna so we can be ready to receive the Torah and bring that down to earth. It has to start with actions that are purely physical of eating matzah and then eating manna. And then that will fix the original sin, which was done by eating from the tree of knowledge. And in that way, we can attain the tree of life, which is the Torah. So we should be zeicha to all this galus and all the glory of this day of Lag BaOmer, the schus of Rashbi, and the schus of Reb Shimon Yochai. We should be zeicha be'adein chibura nafka me'galusa, that with this composition of the Zohar we go out from exile and be worthy to have all the revelations and good things and blessings that we're looking for in our lives. God bless you. Happy Lag BaOmer.